other philosophers was really interesting and very enjoyable, and had rich discussions, and it was an occasion for us to rest on topics that each and every one of us are thinking about separately, and to kind of measure it with the thoughts of others. So yeah, it was really nice. This opportunity just to sit down and say, well, and think and say, yeah, what's the subject, and how do you combine these two fields, art and philosophy, and in which way do you want to approach it? And then, of course, each and every one of us has a favorite topic. So we ended up not trying to define a theme that was kind of everybody had to focus on, but let it more open on this general subject of how do you think about art. And maybe what was also interesting in this, when we realized that it was maybe not a good way to try to find a very specific theme, but to rest on this topic of art and how does art think. That was kind of the working title, Thinking Art, or Thinking Art, yeah. And then when everyone was kind of introducing their own topics and their own approach, we found that even though maybe some texts and some points of view appear to be opposite, there are connections, even in the oppositions of the approaches. This is an artwork by an artist named Thayer, and it's called On Everything. It's from 2007. And well, I know Thayer I've known him for some time, and we've collaborated more on an associative level. And we have in common an interest in new media and technology. And one of my focus points in what I was writing about and what I've been my kind of interest is kind of what happens to art in this technological society, and what are pieces like this, how do they come about, and what are they, and what maybe makes them different from older pieces. And to explain maybe the piece itself, it's Thayer, he works a lot with the internet. He uses the web, and he's also a very clever programmer. And so this piece is about taking images people put on Flickr, the website flickr.com, and he uses code like processing and pure data to write the code that fetches these images, and then he changes the code, and they go through a Java procedure, and then the outcome, instead of kind of calling up the original image, the photograph, he kind of transforms them so they are kind of drawn up on the screen, like a drawing or a painting.
Like a layer over the actual picture?
Yeah, it's based on the subject and the image of the actual picture, but it's kind of transformed into this kind of painting, and it has a reference to painting that look like painting by number. It's also a reference to what Warhol and Lichtenstein were doing in the 60s, when they were using this kind of familiar themes to do images. And then you also see there's a text beneath, so he also fetches images, text from blogs, and they appear on the screen. At the same time, they are transformed and read by a computer voice, so they sound like a machine, and you can't. It's difficult to hear what they're saying. That's why they has the text also on the screen. But part of also what I think is interesting, is this immaterial quality of the work. It's kind of, it's never fixed, and everybody can browse it actually at home. You don't have to come to the museum to see it. You can, And that's also a question when you have, because it's very important that the work exists on the internet and on the web. So it has a website, and you can call it up from your screen at home. Yeah. So it's also a question why put it in a museum, but maybe that's also a way of not everybody knows about these pieces on the internet. It's big and you have to know about them. So maybe you have to get introduced in a museum. Maybe it's just a question. But that's part of what interests me is also how artists are using these tools that are becoming familiar, and everybody has a computer, everybody is on the internet, and it's a big world. And it's also a place where you can create art, and art that is accessible to people, and so that's part of what interests me in this, and interests me also that you have this kind of unfixed quality to it, because it changes all the time. You never see the same images.
Okay,
it's
always
question, because Flickr is a big kind of data bank of images, and people continue to put.
Okay, so it's right connected to Flickr, and it's always like updating new
always
photos.
updating.
Okay, so it's not like he programmed it in a fixed file. Okay.
Yeah, so it's also
it's like
looks for new and
performative.
new. It's performative. Yes. And always, but of course the idea is always the same, and the code is always the same, and but the image is kind of this changes continually, and this also for me it reflects. Can we say a society in our world in a broader sense, because we are in this kind of world that is kind of always changing and always constantly updating itself, and so the work becomes kind of this flow.